Welcome back to the Leaf Blower Revolution guide. In this guide we're going over the Sacred Leaves and the Ancient Sanctum. This video does come after transitioning into Sacred Nebula guide, so keep that in mind. After you've killed Centaur at the Exalted Bridge, you're going to unlock the new area called the Ancient Sanctum. Once you've unlocked it and teleported here, you're going to get a new type of leaf called the Sacred Leaf. This Sacred Leaf unlocks two different types of main mechanics that I'm going to go over into today's video. So let's get into the actual shop. At the start, we have unlocks our relics. This relic unlocks two of our main mechanics, which is relics and leaf sentience. I'll be going into these two mechanics in a little bit. We have our relics get upgrade, which increases the drop rate of relics by 1%. Note that relics can drop from bosses from Sacred Nebula Plus. We have our typical leaf marketing and fertilizer upgrades. We have a crafting backpack upgrade up to 5 increased backpack slots. We have a alchemy reticle upgrade, which increases our critical brews by 0.5%. We have our super stir, which decreases our alchemy brew time by 1%. We have our leaf sentient bot and leaf cheapers upgrade, which I'll get into in a little bit later. We have our cards detector, which increases enemy drop card chance by 0.02%, and our cards part detector, which increases drop chance by 0.05%. Now, we also get access to new seeds. These new seeds being our ancient seeds, our mulch seeds or meads, and every type of gem leaf. Now, this is going to be really useful to unlock getting more materials, getting more and efficient ways of farming the witch, which I highly recommend you do get these seeds as quick as possible. With the gem seeds, there is a method in the tower that I'm going to produce another video on, as this would require a whole separate video to get. Now, the gem leaves that I recommend you get first are the kyanite, which increases your damage, and the emerald, which gets offline seeds. Now, that is all for the Sacred Shop, and I'm going to get into our new mechanics, relics, and leaf sentience. At the top, we'll notice that once we've unlocked this, the relics, there is a light blue or blue hexagon at the top of our screen here. Once we click this, we're going to notice that these are going to be sort of blacked out because you haven't got any yet, but for purposes here, I'll demonstrate them right here. These leaves increase our blow enemy damage and also our multiplier of sacred leaves. So if we have a look at our void leaf here, relic, this relic, because I've got leaf sentience here, which I'll go over in a second, gives us 1.78 E8% enemy blower percent and 6.17 E3% for sacred leaves. Note that these relics have 6 rarities, going from common, uncommon, rare, epic, mythical, and legendary, giving increased amounts of damage and sacred leaf multiplier by a factor of 40, I believe, per rarity increase. Now, there are, I believe, 4 different types of relics here that give an 8%, it's not 8%, 8 times the amount of damage due to them not being able to spawn naturally. These are going to be your celestial, your obsidian, your benonite, and I believe ancient relics. As we can see here, with roughly the same amount of leaf sentience, we get about 8 times more damage and sacred leaf multiplier. Now, let's get into leaf sentience. Leaf sentience require you to max out your bag, which is E300, and you'll find the icon down here below for leaf sentience at the bottom of the screen here. We click on this and we're in the menu. Now, going back to what leaf sentience are, leaf sentience convert 1 E300 of a particular leaf, or the max amount of storage you can get, into 1 level 1 leaf sentient. That bot that we mentioned in the Sacred Shop will automatically do this for us. Now, as we can see on the side, you will also gain access to a dedicated leaf sentient bar that to tell us different levels of leaf sentient. So we can see here for our normal generic leaf, we have 8 E3 normal level 1 leaf sessions. And there's also these leaves with leaf 2, leaf 3, leaf 4 here as well. What this means is basically if you gain a certain amount of L1 or leaf session 1 level 1 leaves, and you convert a certain amount of those into leaf session 2 level 2 leaves, and so on, so on, and so on. As you can see, it's a multiplication per each thing, so it gets very expensive very quickly. These directly correlate into our leaf relics. So if we go back to our leaf relics, we notice that for our common basic relic, we have the same amount of relics here, or LX number here of 1280, which is the same amount of leaf sessions here. Meaning that if we only had one common base relic here, and also one leaf session, and we got another leaf session for our basic leaves, it would be essentially double the damage that that relic gives us. Another thing to note, to get more of these relics, you can either farm bosses or you can brew them as well, and for the time being they have a maximum of 10, which means you can only get a maximum of 10 at the moment, but there are upgrades to help you get more. To get those brew relics, you need to go into the relic shop here, relic brewing tab, and you can brew them for sacred leaves and shards, but they get increasingly more expensive per rarity. For leaf sessions and effectively farming leaf sessions, there are a couple of different ways to decrease the amount of leaf sessions that we have to do, so we can get up that ladder of rarity for our leaf sessions as quick as we can, and for as little leaf sessions as we can. Now those are going to be in our gem shop, which is going to be our leaf cheapers, which is going to decrease the resources by 1, and in the sacred shop there is this leaf cheapers by 3 as well. Now there is also a unique leaf, the leaf session leaf, which decreases it by 5%, which you require a high-tech Ace of Spades in the Exalted Bridge while Snecko is active. And there is also a pet to help you with this, which is Cielo, which import cost is down by 5% as well. To demonstrate what this does, let's head back into the leaf session and hit level 2 or level 3, but let's go to level 2. For here, without Cielo, we need to convert 20 L1s into 1 L2 leaf, but with Cielo on, it only requires 16. So very helpful, as each rarity above with our relics gain a 40x bonus. Once we've gone through all that, you are ready to farm your damage and continually farm up into fighting Batman or in the Firewood Cemetery. Another thing that I'm going to note is you can get more shards very quickly, but that requires you to get to Hematite, which I'm going to go into the next video with. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, and please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel as well. I'll catch you in the next one.